And showtime! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the ChannelPro 5-Minute Roundup. Look at news, trends, and tips for the SMB channel in 5 minutes or thereabouts. My name is Rich Freeman. I am executive editor of the ChannelPro Network, also a co-host of this program. I am joined this week, as I am every week, by our other co-host, Eric Simpson, a business transformation and improvement advisor to MSPs and other IT providers. And Eric, are you keeping your head above water there?
Yes, a little waterlogged, Rich. If anyone's been keeping track of this deluge of rain that we're getting in Southern California, it's been pretty amazing how much rain we're getting. The unfortunate part of it is that, for some reason, we haven't figured out our infrastructure in order to make use of all of this rain to help with our drought conditions. So I understand that the governor is putting together some bills or plans or budgets or something to try to address that, but it has been pretty amazing. Like every few days for days on end, we'll just getting deluge of rain here in January. And, it's pretty amazing. We're not used to this much rain in Southern California.
It's raining here today in Seattle as well, but nothing like what you are experiencing, have been experiencing. And it is a strange thing in the world when Southern California is outraining Seattle. I'll just observe.
Yeah, the good news is we're getting a lot of snow in the local mountains. So, for those folks that love snowboarding and skiing, that's a great opportunity.
There's the silver lining, folks. Well, let's dive into our top story of the week here. It comes to us from Analysis Mason, and analyst organization that does a lot of great work around the SMB market. They have published their predictions for 2023. And there are some highlights here I'm going to call attention to, Eric, that I think are kind of interesting. Just first, some basics. They're predicting that global spending by SMBs on cybersecurity will rise from $69 billion last year to $77 billion this year. Not a great surprise that number is going up. That's a 10%, over 10% increase, though. So pretty robust growth there. Spending on managed services by SMBs worldwide, it's going to be up by 11% year on year, from $279 billion in 2022 to $311 billion in 2023. Random little note that I just thought was interesting. We won't spend much time on it, but according to Analysis Mason, of the SMBs they spoke to, 80% would consider getting their IT services from a telco operator. We could probably spend an entire show diving into that weird number, right? I mean, they're only saying consider, not that they're likely to do it, but I'm not quite sure that they think they're going to get what they are saying they might get from a phone company. But it's something that they won't rule out. Now we get into some of the meatier stuff that I kind of wanted to talk with you more about. So that the percentage of SMBs who identify as early adopters of technology, according to Analysis Mason, will rise from 10% globally to 15%. Now, these are small numbers, but a 50% increase. And just to be clear, early adopters, these are the companies most closely associated with digital transformation. These are companies that want to be out on the leading edge with technology, and they're going to be looking for IT partners who can help them do that. We're probably not going to see 50% year-over-year growth in that number over and over again forever, but it's something to keep in mind. A growing portion of SMBs really do look for digital transformation assistance from their ChannelPro partners. And then there's this. Well, first of all, worldwide spending by SMBs on technology of any kind will be 1.45 trillion with a T dollars in 2023. According to Analysis Mason, 37% of SMBs plan to switch channel partners in 2023, over a third. And the number one reason, obviously a number of reasons why this is happening, but the top reason is because more and more of them are looking for what Analysis Mason calls a quote-unquote enterprise light experience. And that the accent there is on experience. It's not that they're looking for like a shrunk down version of the technologies and the services that an enterprise customer expects from an IT partner. They're looking more for the experience, the customer experience. full life cycle management, pre-sales, onboarding, account management, defined touch points, communication channels. These are all things that this report calls attention to. So I think more and more of us have been aware of the fact that, particularly in an age when a lot of what MSPs do is becoming more and more commoditized, your ability to help customers with things like digital transformation, the experience that you deliver to them is more and more what's going to matter and differentiate you. And some really interesting statistics here from this analyst report kind of bearing that out.
Yeah, a couple of thoughts there, Rich. I mean, a lot to unpack, obviously, with this report. And, it's interesting, that one question, because I picked up on it too. It's like 80% would consider getting these services from what's called an operator, right? Kind of this, telco or something else. I'd be curious to see how the question was worded and, how do you parse that? Because that's kind of a big kind of an area. It's like, how was that worded and what, it needs more unpacking, because I don't know if MSPs should be concerned about that more than they should be concerned about that final point you made. It's that experience. And this is something that, I've been banging the gong about for a long time is, how to create distinction and differentiation in your MSP practice so that you don't look, sound, smell, and feel like, your competitors, how to create kind of your own category so that when you're promoting your services, and we touched on this on one of our programs in the past, Rich, is to be considered as an outsourced IT service desk or outsourced IT organization that is different from an MSP, right? So I want to be known as that enterprise level service organization that bolts on to your company in a way that makes you feel like you have an internal IT department. And that's where I was looking for, is that outsourced IT department. We are your IT department. And let me explain why MSPs exist. They're great for organizations that just need these things. But if you're looking for a true enterprise IT department experience, you should come talk to us. And I think that also feeds in a little bit into my tip of the week, distinction and differentiation, and why we should stop doing some things and start doing other things to take advantage of what we're seeing. And not for nothing, Rich, but, we as MSPs, we're aging and we are maturing, right? When I started my MSP practice, from my IT practice in 1997, right? That's a lot of years. And so we as IT providers, channel pros, MSPs, we have matured over that time, and so have our clients and prospects. So we should be adjusting our approach to lead them in digital transformation, in cybersecurity, in hybrid workforce support and maintenance, so that they don't feel like they are outgrowing us. And so I think that's a very relevant point made in that last item in the survey from Analysis Mason.
Totally agreed. And let's move on to your tip of the week there, because close to $1.5 trillion of IT money will be spent worldwide by SMBs next year. Maybe it sounds like you're advising folks they should be kind of tapping into some of that spending instead of giving stuff away for free.
Absolutely, Rich. I mean, if we, search for managed service provider in our geographic, region. So let's do a little, imagine doing a little local SEO, like, hey, managed services or MSP, Los Angeles, California, right? And look at the websites that pop up. I'll bet you that a lot of them are offering some sort of free network assessment, free technology assessment, free cybersecurity assessment. And you and I both know, Rich, that that's pretty much just a lead magnet, right? We're going to try to collect some contact information from someone that is interested in having that done. And we're going to go out and we're going to do an assessment that really is engineered to uncover all of the pain, risk, and challenges and everything that's wrong about, an organization's IT infrastructure and cybersecurity posture, so that we can provide them a quote to remediate those things and then have them sign up for, a long-term MRR-based agreement, hopefully, knock on wood, right? Well, all of those approaches begin to feel and sound the same. Free this, free that. And, Rich, I mean, how much value can there be in something that's free, right? How much value is there? What am I really going to get? So the tip of the week is simply stop giving away free network assessments, free technology assessments, free cybersecurity assessments, and charge your client for something that has more value than that. Say, look, sign up for a security assessment, sign up for a network assessment, sign up for a cybersecurity assessment so that you can get an idea of what your true scorecard is in all these areas, and have that sales qualifying meeting with that new prospect and explain to them that this is what we do when we do these assessments, and deliver something of value. Like at the end of the assessment, what is the deliverable, whether they move forward with you or not beyond that engagement. Put together I like to call it the keys to the kingdom, right? That document, that file, that binder. I'm kind of old school that way, Rich. I love kind of delivering that binder that's tabbed that says, here's your network infrastructure, here's your cybersecurity posture, here are your assets, here's your Active Directory, here's your users, something that and the passwords and everything, so that when we are done with that assessment, not only have we documented everything in that environment and the risk that the client probably does not have, especially with an incumbent MSP that gives stuff away for free, you can say, look, we normally charge $5,000 for this, $10,000. If it's a large organization, $25,000, an in-depth cybersecurity examination forensically that does pen testing and gives you exactly where you stand, has value to the right buyer. Now, I think channel pros might be wondering, well, Eric, I'm not going to be selling a lot of those if we just go out and pitch that, and that's what the client is sitting there for. I want to sell them these other services. Okay, think about this now. I'm saying deliver something that has value, that they are going to value when they receive it, and know that there is value in that. And then say to them, listen, if you agree to allow us to do the assessment for you, and you allow us to do the remediation and sign our 36-month agreement, then what we'll do is we'll defray the cost of that assessment across the lifetime of the agreement, right? Or the first 12 months of the agreement. So the way that you recoup your cost for that is different than how you're presenting it and presenting the value. And you bring along an example of exactly what one of those things looks like. And so when the client says, okay, yes, I will move forward, now you've got a real opportunity. If a client is ready to say, yes, I will invest in that because I see the value in that, whatever you charge, $1,500, you pick what the value is or what you think the value is for that client. And then if they decide not to move forward with you after that, at least you're getting paid for something and you've delivered something of value to that client. And I'll bet you, Rich, if they don't move forward with you and they sign up with some other MSP later, there's a pretty good opportunity for you to come back to them, when they're getting, to the end of that, first term of their agreement, and maybe win that business back. But at the end of the day, everything has value, and we should be charging for these services and not giving, using kind of a free assessment marketing tool that really at the end of the day is just the ability for you to scope, a solution and try to sell them something else, but get paid for that valuable time. And then if the client says yes, that is a great prospect. You probably have a better opportunity to close them for services when you do it that way.
Yeah, and the key thing is and it's counterintuitive for some folks, but you can actually have more impact from a marketing standpoint charging than not charging for something like that. If something has value, you know, you have to pay money for it. And if something is being given to you for free, well, it can't be all that valuable. I mean, this is how people perceive these things. So, you know, if you are providing a service that has genuine value, and that's sort of the key thing, is that it can't just be some stunt to get your foot in the door. But if you're actually doing something that has meaning for them and that, you know, sets you up to be their long-term provider, or if nothing else, sets them up to work with another provider on some of the gaps that you exposed and so on, that is a real service that has real value, and you absolutely should be charging for that. And the message that they will get is that people pay money for these folks because they're that good, in essence. And so, yeah, it's one of those counterintuitive lessons that I think is pretty important.
Yeah, I have partners that always charge for that. And if the client says no, thank you, then next, right? I mean, you're going to try to target those A client opportunities every single time. And remember, when you get paid to do that level of forensic discovery, you have everything you need to quote a managed IT services or managed cybersecurity services agreement, you know, better than the old way of doing things. Kind of, let's run a couple of, crawl the network, do a couple of assessments, and then quote them, right? You have everything you need not only to quote them to maximize your profit margin, but also to begin your technology and cybersecurity road mapping with them right away. You say, well, next phase, if you decide to move forward, here's phase one. We're going to address these things that are in red, the high priority, right? Then the phase after that, as you engage with us, right, over a period of time, and then maybe in Q2, we'll deal with these things, and in Q3, we'll deal with these things. And now you're giving them that enterprise light experience.
Well done, tying that together with our analyst report there. And it leaves us with time for just one more story. And it comes to us from our Too Much of a Good Thing department. And actually, this involves a river, and given all the water you're dealing with there, Eric, maybe this is not the ideal story to be talking about. But, you hear the words river of melted butter, and doesn't that sound pretty good? It was maybe not so great last week in Portage, Wisconsin, where the Associated Milk Producers facility there caught fire in the evening. Thankfully, nobody was hurt, but it did melt a whole lot of butter and produced a river of butter that went into storm drains. And gosh darn it, this is Wisconsin in the wintertime. It froze up, clogged a historic water artery, created a whole problem there. But Sometimes, Eric, a river of melted butter actually isn't a good thing. Although I do think to myself, if they had just gotten a truckload of English muffins out there, they probably could have fixed the problem before it got into the storm drain.
Boy, I'll do you one better, Rich. I mean, that's not how I like my drawn butter on my lobster, but hey, there you go.
Truckload of lobster, that would have worked too.
Mm.
Well, fantastic. That is all the time we've got for you this week on the 5-Minute Roundup. Folks, we're going to be back again next week with another episode for you. You know what? We are both a podcast and a video. So if you're watching the video now, but you also listen to podcasts, go to wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Google, Stitcher, Spotify. You're going to find us there. You can subscribe, you can rate, you can review. We would appreciate all of those. If you're listening, but you would like to watch, easiest thing to do is go to the ChannelPro Network channel on YouTube. You can subscribe there. And if you click that bell icon, you'll get notified to when the new episodes go up. To read more about what's happening in the industry, get great sort of industry analysis, learn all sorts of things about how to grow your business and be more successful, please visit channelpronetwork.com every day, because we've got great new content going live for you there every day. If you want to learn more about Eric and the work he does with his clients, you're going to want to visit ericsimpson.com. That is ERICK Simpson.com. So once again, folks, thank you very much for joining us. We will be back again with you next week. Until then, please enjoy the rest of your week. Eric and I are enjoying the rest of your week already.